little break from the crypto space over the weekend, and so I just completely missed it. And I woke up this morning again, checked, and I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, cool, a
Yeah,
new all-time high."
that's the thing, right? For us, when the bull market comes, you don't get enough time to sleep because FOMO. You always are worried, like, what's gonna happen when I'm sleeping. So when the bull market comes, you don't sleep. When the bear market comes, that's when you sleep, but you stress. So
Exactly,
that is working crypto for you. But yeah, anyways,
definitely.
I'm happy. Very good.
Glad to hear. So this is, of course, the weekly crypto forecast, the show where we bring you all the latest alpha you need to know this week from the wild world of crypto and digital assets. I'm your host for today's episode, Jonathan. I'm the content lead here at CoinMarketCap. And with me, as always, is Alice, whose voice you've just heard, who is our research lead here at CoinMarketCap. So to make sure that you never miss an episode of the show, be sure to download the CoinMarketCap app and turn on your notifications to be alerted. You can always catch today's live as well as every other previous live if you come in late or you want to listen to it again or whatever the case may be by going to coinmarketcap.com/community/lives. And you can also listen to them after the fact on your favorite podcast platform, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hope everyone in the chat is doing well. I see some people saying hi here. Bitcoin all time high. Good morning. Good morning back to you. Assad Mahmood. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hello, hello to everybody. Somebody's making fun of me for missing the all time high. I deserve that. I will accept that. I'll accept your laughter. And yeah, so are you ready to jump into kind of how the macro's doing, or did you have anything else you wanted to discuss here before we get the show started?
Now let's look at the numbers, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
As we speak, the total crypto market cap is at 4.27 trillion USD. That is up 1.6% for the past 24 hours. Um, and the trade volume is very active. It's 171 billion USD at the moment, although it's down slightly for about 5.8% for the past 24 hours, but it's generally on the healthy side and given where the market is. So as we speak, the BTC dominance is at 58.2%. Ether dominance is coming back up at 13%. Bitcoin right now is giving us 124,654 USD. That's up 9% for the past 7 days. And we did celebrate another all-time high for Bitcoin price last week over the weekend above 125K. Generally speaking, I mean, this is the momentum you're getting coming into October. So the season has started, guys. And Ether is not shy of the growth either. Right now, Ether is 4,650 USD. That's up 10.8% for the past 7 days. A few great news about Ethereum actually coming up that we're seeing Etherhis is topping up, Bitmine is topping up, for example, all of those as well. And on top of that, we have a few other all-time highs. BNB, we just witnessed it today, celebrated another all-time high of BNB at 1,237 USD. That's just 2 hours ago for us, and that would put BNB market cap to 170 billion USD. That is an impressive growth that we just witnessed today. On top of that, Solana is doing really well as well at 233 USD and a few other coins. If we look at the top performers for the past 7 days in the large cap space, leading the pack is Zcash. Actually, is up 133% for the past 7 days. And the just a very quick take on Zcash because it is announced on the back of a Grayscale Zcash Trust launched on October 2nd. So that is the main driver of the growth there. And for informations like this, when you're saying a coin is pumping, you just click on the coin page, and underneath the price chart, you will have CMC AI analyzing all of the recent price movements, TA, community sentiment and the latest news on that for you guys. So don't worry about that. And coming back to this, the top gainers leading the pack is Zcash, as we discussed. Number two is SPX 6900. So that is also up 48% for the past 7 days. And then Pancake is number three at 3.75 USD, up 43%. DEXE, that's also up 26%. Aptos, number five, is up 24.6% for the past 7 days. So overall, I think we're seeing a very good momentum across the alt space. Although one thing interesting to notice though, if you look on CoinMarketCap homepage, you'll see that the fair and greed is only at 59. We are in neutral. With all these all-time highs, guys, we are actually in the neutral zone. You know what? Because if you step back a little bit and look at the numbers, it makes sense because altcoin season right now is only giving me a 66 out of 100. It was over 80 a few weeks ago, if you guys remember. But actually, you know what? Yes, we're celebrating a few all-time highs in the large cap space. It's exciting, but overall, the market still have a lot of room to catch up. And that's great news because going to Q4, going to October, we are going to have a great run ahead of us. So that's the overall review of the numbers at the moment.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's for me kind of hard to be anything but bullish at the moment. I mean, given everything that you just shared, I know we've got a lot of news to get into, stories to get into, but yeah, I mean, just given the fact that again, if we go back to the homepage here and you look at just everything here on the 7 day chart, with a few exceptions, is green, right? Very exciting. Some of the top market cap coins are in the double digits in greens, including Ethereum, BNB. The fear and greed index is still in neutral. Like it just seems, I don't know. It's just hard to not be excited for whatever we're going into next, and wherever the market is going to take us. And of course, this is a
Right.
perfect chance to just remind everybody that nothing we say in the show is financial advice, and you should always do your own research. But yeah, that said, I'm still pretty excited.
That's great. That's awesome. Because yes, we all know that Bitcoin is all-time high. But are you guys curious about the reasons? So I think today Jonathan has prepared some really awesome TA for us later as well. But to get through on the news side, I think for BTC all-time highs, there are three main drivers in the space. And number one is US government shutdown effects that we saw because of the budget issue. We have seen the US government shutdown, and we've seen the last week we discussed the impact on this a little bit. But also, if you look across the market right now, a few assets like gold have been receiving positive uplift from this impact. So US government shutdown effect is number one driver here. Number two is ETF inflows. I have a piece of news too and some data to share with you, you guys from CoinShare side. And number three is a bullish seasonality. So guys, don't forget, right? Normally, Bitcoin has been receiving really good performance in Q4, just the seasonality of it, and driving the momentum. We started to see that already. So those, from a news perspective, I guess just echoing what Jonathan said, all-time high is very exciting, and this is what I'm seeing from the macro side.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You were mentioning the Q4 seasonality. I think it was just a couple weeks ago, maybe the last time that the two of us were on, because it was Gabriel was on last week, where we were talking about the September slump, or maybe it was 2 weeks before that. But I remember recently talking with I think it was you about yeah, this sort of September slump where everybody in September kind of gets concerned that the market's not going to continue when the bull market is over and prices can't go up anymore. And then here we are in Q4 in October, and it sort of, this week at least, it feels like we're back. And people, I mean, we're not even into December yet, where we often get this, quote unquote Santa Claus rally. And I believe the last time I was here also, I shared a chart that showed that Q4, like you were saying, has the highest on average returns out of any quarter of the year. And
Yeah.
so it's almost like, again, this is not prescriptive advice. History is not prescriptive, but it can help you understand patterns. And quite often, if we can just hold out until Q4, some of our hopes and will be brought back, and our fears will be assuaged, if that's the correct term.
Yeah, definitely echoing what you said. And just to give the data support there as well, you're right about Q4 because on average, Q4 has been giving us 79% of returns for that quarter from 2013 up until this year. Every year on average, 79%. And the median of that number is 47%. So still, overall, is the most positive quarter for us. However, just one thing to note for this year, because the market is so different now, we have so many ETF players at the table, right? So just remember one thing, which is for some ETF holders, aka the investment accounts, they do have the tendency to sell their portfolio at the end of the year for tax rebalances, capital gain offset, etc. So all of those things, just bear in mind. We might have some analysis coming up on that in-depth dive of what potentially this Bitcoin ETF um, sale end of year sale could impact for the BTC price for us. So I think that's just one small point to make here. But yeah, overall, I think Jonathan, I think it's really good, even where the economic setup is for us. It is good news as well.
Yes, and I definitely agree with that. So you mentioned that you had some numbers, like a coin share report, some numbers you wanted to run us through in terms of the ETF inflows.
Yeah, let's do that. As I mentioned, ETF inflows we've seen impressive, impressive inflows from Wall Street side on this. So crypto funds, they smash records with close to 6 billion USD inflows driven by employment and shutdown worries. Right. So those are the US government shutdown worries that we just talked about. Across the board, this sort of concerns on the weak economic data side has led us to have that strong inflows. US, they led the record, 5 billion USD inflows, followed by Switzerland, that's another 563 million, and Germany, 312 million USD. BTC is the number one winner of those inflows. 3.55 billion USD went into BTC. Ether saw another 1.48 billion USD injection, and Solana 706 million USD injection, and XRP 219 million injection. So those were, you can tell, like the interest from Wall Street, aka institutional investors. BTC is still the number one, by far the number one. Ether is probably half of that interest, and then followed by Solana XRP. This seems to be still the most wanted tokens by institutional investors. So yeah, I think one thing that we also saw from this CoinShare ETF inflow data suggesting is, TradFi, they have concerns of this US government shutdown. They have concerns of this weak employment data. And yes, they are right about it. Why? Because shocking data has revealed that, yes, we have BTC hits all-time high. The USD is on track for the worst year since 1973. What we mean by that is because of inflation, all of this recent inflations that we've seen, but also the inflation rebounds and the weak labor markets, the Fed is cutting rates. USD is now on track for the worst year since 1973, down over 10% year to date. And USD has lost about 40% of its purchasing power since 2000. Since 2000, for the past 25 years, it's lost 40% of its purchasing power. That is incredible. Whereas at the same time, if you look everything on BTC terms, no asset is outperforming BTC, of course. So I think it's just such, sometimes we just have to pause and think, wow, that's like what a great tool that we have for this inflation hedge. And we understand that, so do institutional investors. So maybe that's why we're seeing some of this very strong ETF inflows and demand.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and I think it highlights a point that not a lot of people think about, I think, when it comes to